My name is Nathalia and I'm from Ukraine. The national language of my country is Ukrainian, but also people are speaking other languages, for example, Russian, and also Western part are speaking Polish, Romanian, and other languages. I learned English in Ukrainian school. First, we wanted to experience some kind of adventure and try to live in another culture. But also there were some internal Ukrainian issues that we wanted to live separately from. Yeah, for example, we wanted to live in the country where one law is the same for all kind of people and all people are treated the same. Currently, Ukraine is experiencing invasion from Russia. It's been 22 months already, and this is a tragedy for all Ukrainian people and their relatives and all Ukrainians that are living in Ukraine and all over the world. Our family came here 4 years ago, so we did not flee from Ukraine, but our relatives, my husband's parents, they fled from Ukraine and they live with us. And also part of our family stays in Ukraine. A lot of Ukrainian people that live in Nouveau-Brunswick, they have their families coming from Ukraine, their parents or sisters, brothers. One of the big stereotypes about Ukraine back 5-7 years ago was that what is Ukraine? Where is Ukraine? Oh, it's in Russia. So people did not really separate Ukraine from Russia. But now with all that is happening in Ukraine, people here differentiate and know exactly what Ukraine is and where it is and what is happening there. I'm not a religious person, but in our country we have Orthodox and Christian Greco-Catholics. Most important holidays for Ukrainians are religious holidays. It is Christmas, it is Easter, also we celebrate New Year. Also Independence Day is very important for Ukrainians now. Maybe some people will disagree with me, but I consider Ukraine to be a secular country, and Ukraine is heavily integrated into global processes. That is why I think family traditions now, they are kind of similar to family traditions in other countries. Of course, there is a like Ukrainian traditional folk flavor sometimes, but in generally speaking, the families, all families are different, but in general, it would be similar to the families in Canada. In Ukraine, people are actually very tolerant to LGBT communities. So I have a few friends, I don't care, and it seems to me nobody cares. It's like, it's your personal thing, right? So very, very tolerant. There's no problem for LGBT in Ukraine. Getting married within gay communities in Ukraine is not officially allowed, but nevertheless, LGBT community feels itself free and nobody really cares, and like Ukrainian people are very tolerant. Personally, I do not have any experience of that I could see the bullying of gay people in Ukraine. According to family structure in Ukraine, well, there is a traditional when the father is the leader of the family, but actually currently it's not that definite. Different families have different leaders. I would say that the family structure in Ukraine is similar to the family structures here. Since Ukraine is globalized now, yeah, it has like probably people have the same body language as here. So if you show Ukrainian a middle finger, he will get offended, right? So it's the same like here. But also we have our own gesture, so to say. So it looks like this. And this Ukrainian people can show to somebody. If somebody asks, give it to me. And if you don't want to give, you show this. This gesture is not that offensive. It simply means I will give you nothing. As to the respect to personal space, I would like to say that Canadians need more space around. Because if you go, just one example, people waiting for the bus. In Ukraine, they would be like a crowd staying tight, you know, it's like you can touch your neighbor, right? But in Canada, I was going in the car and people were staying like, 2 meters one from another, and it was a long line of 20 people waiting for the bus. Ukrainian people need less personal space. Punctuality is the same important in Ukraine as in Canada. If you are not punctual, it tells a lot. When I came to Canada, I discovered that there are so many mental disorders. So when we would have a small talk with colleagues, they would say, oh, I have this disorder, and I have that disorder, and I have third disorder. And I'm like, guys, what are you talking about? So in Ukraine, we do not have that much of attention to mental health as people have here. So I do not imagine the situation in Ukraine when I would say to my employer, I don't feel like working today. I feel dizzy or something. Can I go home and stay and spend some time for myself? But here it is very popular, and my first time in Canada, I did not understand this. In terms of mental health, I would say that Ukrainians that come to Canada, they are resilient and adaptable. Small talks in Canada are very funny. How are you? Good. And how are you? Good. We do not have such thing in Ukraine. First time I was when we just came to Canada and people on the street would just say, "Hi, how are you?" I would think like, why did he ask me? I do not know him. But now I think it's a good thing. It's a way to start, small talk, or it's a way to start communication. Good way to start communication. You could not say to Ukrainian that Ukraine is a part of Russia. Because of the war in Ukraine, now the most sensitive topic would be anything related to Russia and possible Ukrainian and Russian friendship. It is not really different from traditional everyday clothing of average Canadian, but at the same time, Ukrainians have their own national clothing, like embroidered shorts, dresses, some sorts of embroidered clothing that we wear during the holidays and in the everyday life as well. There are some lines of official clothing, embroidered Ukrainian style clothing, and it is actually now is popular around the world as well. I saw it in a lot of fashion lines. Ukrainians have even a day devoted to national embroidered clothing. It is called Vyshivanka Day, and it is celebrated in May of each year. And here in Canada, even government people, they wear Vyshivankas, national Ukrainian embroidered shorts, that day to celebrate the culture. I have 3 kids, 3 boys of different ages. And when we came to Canada, one was 3 years old, another one was 8 years old, and 14 years old. First time, the most challenging part was English language, of course, but it's a matter of time. Like the middle one, 8-year-old, he adapted fastest, and he felt comfortable at school on his second day. So the oldest, he was almost 14, and he was a teenager, so it's like he had a very challenging stage of life anyway, and then he changed the country and changed everything during that time. So he was challenged not only with English language, but also how to find himself in his comfortable in his teenage, right, and in his new community and new surroundings. And the little one, 3 years old, he didn't really understand. It's just he was comfortable being at home, and with kids he just perceived everything as normal, as it is. Okay, people speak some different language, so he just step by step he started to speak English and French. So he went actually to the French daycare. Now it's not 100% French, so he was speaking both Ukrainian and English. And at the moment when he entered the kindergarten at the age of 5, he was speaking mixed language, English and French, and he did not differentiate. So he went to English school, and during his first year of kindergarten, he started to speak English. Then he went to French immersion, starting from the first grade. So now he speaks 2 languages. He is very comfortable speaking English, and also he understands and translates. He is our interpreter. So the little one, now he is 7 years old, and he is our family interpreter from French. Speaking about the oldest guy, so he's comfortable in English right now. He just finished, he just graduated high school. Challenges with English language, as I said, they wrapped up quickly, right? Like 3-6 months to each of them, and it was done. Other challenges were to find friends at school, right? For example, my oldest, all of his friends are Ukrainians. So he had a couple of friends from other culture, but they are more like just pals. So they do not meet in town for something like go to the cinema. No. So his best friends are Ukrainians. As to the middle one, now he is 12 years old, and the youngest is 7 years old. They really do not differentiate between the countries, and I would say that maybe they have more friends from different cultures than Ukrainians, or equal. In general, in Canada and Ukraine, they are a bit different. First one is that Canadian teachers are not giving any homework at home. And my oldest son, after his first week at school, he came home and said, "Oh, I love this country. I don't get any homework." Because in Ukraine, you would devote, all school students, they need to devote a lot of time to the homework. Another thing that struck me when we came to Canada, speaking about the high school, my oldest son in Ukraine, he had 17 subjects in 1 year. So when we came to register him at school here in Canada, the lady like, "What do you mean 17? 17? Are you sure?" Because here they say they have 5 first semester and 5 in second semester, so totally 10 during the year. So in Ukraine, kids have the same 17 subjects in a week during the whole year. Also, the Ukrainian educational system is a bit ahead of Canadian. This is just a simple example. My son, he graduated from 7th grade in Ukraine, and we came in the summer just before the new school year, and they registered him into the 9th grade. So he skipped 1 year. Me and my husband, we consider maths to be one of the most important subjects at school. So we would always ask our son about, like, what about maths? What was there? And first time, our oldest son, he came from school and said, like, that is weird. Like, we did on math something that I did back in grade 5. So seeing this situation, we would hire a Ukrainian math tutor for our oldest son to keep up with, with Ukrainian math program, because Canadian one was a bit different. Speaking about assessment, there is one thing in Ukraine, when we have parents' meetings, it is always like all the parents are gathered together and the teacher would announce the assessment of each student to each, to all the parents. So each parent would know the success of each student in the classroom. So I remember from my childhood when my parents came home and said, oh, so somebody from your class got better mark than you. So this is how it is done in Ukraine. In Canada, it is completely different. So nobody knows the assessment of each student. So it is a secret, and I think this system is better. Ukrainian students do a lot of homework, and I would like Canadian teachers challenge Ukrainian kids and give them some homework. What I like in Canadian school is that Canadian teachers, they are very friendly and very helpful to the kids. And they try to accommodate the needs of each school student as much as possible. Again, example from our life, my oldest son, he is a dancer. And during the school year, he needed to go to Montreal to dance there. So his teachers at school were very flexible to accommodate his curriculum and help him finish his school year with success. I would like to thank Canadian community and Canadian school teachers for all the support you give to our kids, for all your help and for all your curiosity. You want to know more and you dig and you are trying to help. Thank you very, very much from all of my family and from all of our Ukrainian community.